Hi everyone, I'm very excited to be here on SY Alerts, and I have to behave because I'm on somebody else's account, but I hope you're all ready to join and make pizza. I used to use the Mazer pizza dough, and I have to tell you, I thought it was the best thing that ever happened. And the reason I used the Mazer dough was it was 20 ounces and not 16 ounces. So I found it the right size. I used to cut it in half and use it, and it was great. But now I make my own, and I use 00 flour. I'll show you. I use this flour. I didn't ask you to buy this flour because it's a pain in the neck to find. You love my pizza, thank you. So now I'm using 00 flour. I also buy my yeast in bulk, so I don't have those little packets to deal with, and then you don't have them, and then they're not good. Yes, they care, Grandma. Hi, Muriel. Anyway, back to the pizza. So, if we're all ready, we're going to start to make the dough. I have my KitchenAid here. I'm going to turn you around. Let's see if you could even tilt you down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So I'm going to add to the KitchenAid. I do it by grams, but I measured it out for you because I don't know if anybody wants to deal with the food scale. It's 1.3 cups of warm water into the mixer. It's 1 teaspoon of yeast. You don't want to do more than a teaspoon of yeast because you don't want it that fluffy. You don't want it to rise that much. You want a thin, crunchy pizza. So I'm going to put this yeast in and just let the mixer go a little bit. Let that run around. And we're just going to mix this for about 2 minutes. And in this bowl, I have my flour and salt, and that's it. I have in here 500 grams of flour or 4 cups. 1 tablespoon or 6 grams of salt, kosher salt. So we're just going to mix that up. And the greatest thing, I'm going to mix that a little more. The greatest thing about this dough is we're going to grill it. And because you grill it, you're going to be able to put any topping you want and actually hold it up and put it into the oven. And I'm going to show you the trick about cooking the pizza. I made pizza tonight. I made a Zap pizza tonight and a regular margarita pizza tonight. So we're going to add the flour and the salt. And it's really simple. It's 0 ingredients. I mean, it's flour, salt, water, and yeast. We're just going to mix that up. You can see it's starting to come together. I'm going to go a little higher. And that's the whole thing. I'm going to go a little more. If you want to mix it by hand, you can. Take a look. Very simple to make. That's it. I would definitely knead this a little more, but I don't want to bother you with the mixer, but it definitely needs more kneading. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anybody want to ask me any questions? Anybody has a question, I would love to answer it. You're coming around the corner right now, okay? Anybody have a question? You love my breed? Okay, so take a look at this. It's getting a little smoother. You want it to be smooth. This dough is going to make 3 pizzas. 3 grilled pizzas. Okay, so I think that's done. You're going to put this in a bowl. Yeah, take a look at that. That looks good. I'd even like it a little smoother. If you could see that. Is it hard to see? What kind of flour? So I'm using Caputo 00 flour. Take a look. This is the flour. It only comes in 2.2 pound bags, which is 1 kilo. And I'm going to put this in a bowl with a little olive oil on the bottom. Yeah. I'm just going to squirt a little olive oil on the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to leave that in here. I'm going to put a towel over this. And we're just going to put it aside for 1 hour. In 1 hour, it should be double. It will be double in size and fluffy and like a pillow. And I have one ready for you. I'm going to show it to you now. Take a look. I don't know if you could tell. You could find the flour in Wegmans. You could use any flour you want. You can do this in a Cuisinart, not a KitchenAid if you want. I just find that when I do it in the Cuisinart, it starts to smell like smoke. It gets a little burnt because the dough is so thick. So take a look at this dough, how beautiful this is. See how soft? It's almost like a pillow. It's so soft and beautiful. I'm going to take this out. Could you put, okay, I'm going to take it out of the, bowl. I'll use my little scraper. Do you see how fluffy that is? I am also, if anyone is interested, I am actually selling the grilled dough, already grilled. You could see that in the bag. This is what it looks like when we're done. I keep these in the freezer. Someone's coming for dinner, I pop it out. I bake them. They're amazing. I'm going to take my scale. Now, this sounds silly that I actually weigh each ball of dough because I know that about, I use dry yeast. How much is the dough? The dough, I'm selling it 1 for 10, 3 for 25. But I'm teaching you so you can make it yourself. I'm going to cut this into 3. I want to weigh each piece because I know a little under 10 ounces is going to get me the exact thinness that I want on the grill pan. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to pop it on the scale. And when it reaches about 9 ounces, let's see, units, pounds, okay, ounces, let's go. Oh, not yet. So you think you know, and then it's, okay, so this should be, that's it. Let's try the next. Let's just cut this one in half, and that should be the right amount. Let's just check them again. See, this one is too much. This one's 12 for some reason. So you want to get them about 9 ounces, 9 to 10. Could I repeat the dough recipe? Absolutely. It is, you take 1 1/3 cup of water or 300 grams of warm water, mix it in the KitchenAid with a teaspoon of yeast. Then you're going to take 500 grams of flour or 4 cups with a tablespoon of salt or 5 grams. Mix that in, and that's the whole dough recipe. So now I have my 3 doughs. This one seems a little smaller, I don't know why. Okay, now here's the trick. We're gonna roll it in cornmeal. You're not gonna roll this in flour. You know when you go to the pizza store and you get that yellow on the bottom? That's because they rolled it in cornmeal. No sugar at all. No, there is no sugar in this. No. So we're going to sprinkle some cornmeal on the counter. See if I can make you a little lower. I'm going to move you back. Okay. Now I find that the ready-made dough doesn't roll as easily as this. If you see this dough, it rolls pretty, well, I didn't get cornmeal on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this into what I think is a circle. Let's flip it over. And it doesn't really have to be an exact circle. You'll see what I mean when you get to the grill pan. It won't really matter. But it rolls beautifully. And then you can start to stretch it with your hands after you finish rolling it. Those corners seem to push back sometimes. Cornmeal on the bottom and the top. Do you need a taste tester? Yeah, come on. Okay, so I'm going to pull it a little bit. You see I'm pulling it? You can even pick it up at this point and start to turn it this way. Because you want it thin. You want a thin dough. Okay, so I'm going to try to get it into another circle. And then I'm going to bring you over. I've been heating up the grill pan. You don't need to spray it. There's no need to spray the grill pan. I'm going to bring you over to the grill pan. Let's see if this works. Okay, here we are. So this has been heating up. I'm going to raise the fire now. And let the dough rise for 1 hour, yes. And they have the flour at Wegmans. Don't buy it all. I bought 6 bags today. So I just want to make sure that this is hot before I get the dough on. Now, it's not a perfect circle, but it's okay. Because once you get it onto the round pan, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to pull it into, see how it became a circle? And you see how I have pieces around there's pieces around it. If I could find my scissor, which I love in the kitchen, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to cut it off. I'm just going to cut off the excess. So I have a circle. There we go. Okay. So that's going to sit on there and it's going to bubble up. I have a lot of different grill pans. I'm going to show you them. This happens to be a very fancy grill pan. I think it's a Le Creuset grill pan. I also have, I'm going to show you, a not so fancy grill pan, which I love. I almost like it better than this one. It's even a little bigger. I have that grill pan. So you're going to want to wait until you start to see bubbles like you would in pancakes. It's so much easier to buy it from me. It is easier to buy it, but you know what? It's just great to have in the freezer. If you could make these and have them in your freezer, that's half the battle. So you want to pick it up and check the bottom and see if it's starting to have grill marks. This pan, for some reason, takes a long time to heat up. We're going to top it with my favorite pizza sauce, and I'm going to show you that right now. We're going to post the recipe with this video. Danny, we're making pizza. We're making grilled pizza. We're going to post the recipe with the video. I should have pinned it if I knew how to do that. So I love this pizza sauce. It's thick, it has no sugar, it does need salt, but it's a great, great, great sauce. I also use fresh mozzarella that we slice. I don't use the shredded, but you can. You never get it to stretch like this because you're buying ready-made dough. When you buy ready-made dough, for some reason it fights you. I don't know why. So I think this is starting to get a little smoky. When I use the mazer dough, I get a lot of grill marks, but the dough is not as good. So I might not get great grill marks, but I see that it's starting to stiffen a little bit, and I'm just going to pick this up and we're going to flip it over, just like that. You don't really see grill marks, but I know that it's kind of getting done. I feel the firmness of it. So tonight, 1,000 facts about pizza. It's America fact. I made a pizza tonight that was za'atar. This is the best pizza sauce. I made a za'atar. I took it off the grill pan. I brushed it with olive oil. I sprinkled some za'atar, and then I'm going to show you how to bake it. It's not a crepe, Michael. It is a grilled pizza dough. So you could olive oil, za'atar, pop it in the oven, let it get crispy, and then add tomatoes and olives and onions and feta cheese and parsley and mint And it's probably the best, crunchiest, delicious thing you'll ever have. And it's served room temperature, which is great. I think we're just about done. I'm gonna raise the fire. The fire's on high, I can't go higher. But what's fabulous about this is now I have a stiff dough. I'm not fighting with a soft dough trying to get it in the oven. I have a firm, round, beautiful dough. I think this is just about done. Yeah, once it's firm, I think we're okay. I'm gonna shut the fire off. I'm gonna bring you back and show you the toppings. Let's go back to the counter. The flour that I use is 00 Caputo flour. Caputo. Here you go, this is the flour. The sauce is Don Pepino. This is the sauce. This is the flour for the dough. I also use very good Parmesan cheese for the topping. I use the Italian Parmesan. I don't use the jar. I have a great story to tell you about the jar of Parmesan cheese. So now I have the dough. At this point, I could freeze it, stick it in a Ziploc, put it in between parchment paper, make my 3 doughs. But we're gonna make pizza tonight. But it's great to have in the freezer. The Parmesan cheese that comes in the jar is not okay. So I had a jar of Parmesan cheese in my spice cabinet. For some reason, I don't know how it ended up there. I took it out, I thought it was garlic powder, and I put it all over my roast. And someone looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What? It's garlic powder." She said, "No, it's Parmesan cheese." And it's been there God knows how long, and it was still good. So now I had cheese all over my roast. I called my rabbi, and he said, because it's cold, you could wash it off. So, there's no need to buy, one second. There's no need to buy Parmesan in the jar. It's awful, it's preservatives, it's not fresh, it has no taste, I would never recommend it. I would buy this and grate it, or I would buy an already grated, I think 2 guys, some guy makes a grated in a container in the refrigerator, and I think that's okay. I don't freeze the dough with the topping. I freeze the dough just like this in a Ziploc with parchment paper in between. Look how thin it is. You see how thin this is? Okay, so we're gonna start. I put the cheese first, and I have my fresh mozzarella, and I have it in a paper towel, so any of the liquid is gonna come out of it, because sometimes it has a lot of liquid coming out. And I'm gonna line my dough with the cheese. You could put mozzarella if you want, the shredded. I just like this. You kids might want it with sauce first, traditional, and then cheese, but I like to put the cheese first because I don't want to sog up my dough. Okay, I think that's enough. I think we're good. And now I'm gonna put the sauce. I use a half a can for each pie, okay? Yeah, it's 3 guys Parmesan. I have it in the fridge. I use half a can for each pie. I don't spread it on, I just dollop it around. It definitely needs salt, so you're gonna add salt. You could add the Parmesan now, you could add the Parmesan after. I like to add it after. Now, in my oven, I have to tell you, my oven is set at 500 degrees. It's been preheating at 500 degrees. I'm gonna put some salt. It's preheating at 500 degrees, and in my oven is a tray upside down. You want me to bring you over to the oven? Do you guys need to come to the oven with me? Yes? You want to come to the oven? I'll bring you to the oven. Let's see. I have a bag of flour weighing down my tripod, so you have to excuse me. I'm going to bring you to the oven. And I have a tray. Do you see the tray? My dirty tray? Upside down. That's heating up in the oven. You cannot use an aluminum. You have to use a heavy duty regular tray. The aluminum trays don't heat up. So you need to use a regular heavy metal tray. We're going to put this pizza into the oven. It's going to sizzle when it goes on. See, I could lift it because it's grilled first. I'm going to get this in the oven. I heard it sizzle. I'm even going to go up to 525 because I think my oven goes to 525. As high as your oven will go is, yes, pizza stones are amazing, but it's another piece of equipment that you really don't need because the tray upside down really works. So if you have a pizza stone, that's great. When I used to buy pizza stones, they used to crack. And I'd bring them back to Bed Bath with my sauce still on it, and I would return them and get a new one. And I was tired of doing it. And I bought a very good one. I bought a $50 one, and I thought it was going to last, and it cracked. You can't make the oven too hot. You cannot make the oven. As hot as it goes, that's what you want to do. So, I have here my fresh basil. Smell that? We have fresh basil. I have the good Parmesan cheese for after. But we're going to have to chat a bit because it's not going to be ready. The tray is really the greatest thing. Could you put parchment paper under the dough? I don't know what that means. You can put parchment paper in the oven at 525 with the dough. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm going to add the basil after. And again, I'm going to use my scissor to add the basil. And I'm going to add the Parmesan after. And I might even add a drizzle of olive oil after. I didn't put it on my granite countertop. I put it in the oven. It cracked in the oven. My stone cracked in the oven. So, I'm good with the tray. The back of my trays are dirtier than the top of my trays. Perhaps I have my second dinner. Oh, you're making it now. Is anybody cooking along? I put the cornmeal not to make the dough stick. I could roll out another one for you. Back you up. 1 second. You're just gonna put some cornmeal on top, some cornmeal on the bottom. And you know, I have to tell you that the difference in the dough is unbelievable when you make your own dough. I mean, if you're short on time, you could buy my dough. I just started a new Instagram account if you'd like to follow me. Besides Claudia at Home. It's called Pro Pizza Dough. So I find that the ready-made pizza dough, first of all, you have to wait for it to frost because you never know when you're going to want pizza. And then it takes hours to defrost. So here we go. This really, really rolls out beautifully. Take a look at this. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Anybody in Deal could come over for pizza. Anybody want to come over for pizza? I'm going to go check the oven. I will be right back. Not there yet, but it looks good. We could start. Well, it really is so easy. And you know what's great is, I keep saying the freezer because these are so great to have in the freezer. I'm going to turn my stove back on. And it's crazy that it never sticks. I mean, it is a non-stick pan, but I'm sure all of you are half in Brooklyn, half in Jersey, half in Florida. I don't know where everybody is. I've yet to come home. They're coming to Deal. Come on. Okay, so do I have any other questions? Do you have any other questions about the pizza? I told you I did a topping. I'm going to grill one now and show you the topping with the za'atar. I'm going to take this over to the oven. to the stove, sorry. I'm going to use my scissor to cut the edges off. I'm going to show you again. I will bring you over. I'll bring you over to the... How long does it bake for? Until it's almost burnt. That's really what you're looking for. That's why I don't want to rush it. This one came out a little smaller, which is okay. Thank you, Rhonda. So after you grill it, you could do whatever you want. You could add whatever you want. You could add roasted vegetables on it. Roasted tomatoes are fabulous. Just put tomatoes in a pyrex with some garlic and salt. You could do a rectangular for sure. You could definitely use a rectangular grill pan, and then it will fit great on the tray also. You need to hear the crunch. Yes, it's all about that crunch. I hope I get the crunch. You don't want any flop on your pizza. So, great tool for the kitchen. I just cut the edges. If you see, this one's a little funky shaped, but nobody's going to complain. See, it really needs to stop bubbling up over here, and that's when you know it's done. Any other questions about the best pizza? What's the difference between the flour and the regular all-purpose? It's a little finer. It's a much finer flour, the 00. You could use a cast iron. You could use a cast iron if you have a cast iron grill pan, for sure. It doesn't have to be a grill pan. It could be a regular pan. It's funny, I really like my cheap one better. I think I'm going to go back to that one. I'm going to flip that over. I don't find I get good grill marks with the expensive pan, with the Le Creuset pan. And it weighs 1,000 pounds. Yes, Caputo 00. Yeah, I love that flour. I really see a difference in the dough with that flour. It's much softer. Hey Lottie, thanks for joining. Okay. So this is almost done. We're gonna go check the pizza in the oven. I'm gonna bring you with me. We're gonna go look. Can you see that? Could you see what's happening in there? And at that point, you might say, oh, it's ready. I'm not opening the oven. I don't want it to bring the temperature down. You might say it's ready at that point, but it's definitely not. And I have cheese dripping in my oven, and I hope my smoke alarm doesn't go off. It's going to be trouble. Trouble! Let's bring you back to the grill pan. I think we're done. I think that is done. So you don't really need to see grill marks. You just want to make sure it's firm and you're able to handle it. I'm going to bring you back to the counter. And I think that pizza needs about, it's not ready. It's not ready. You think it's ready. When you think it's ready, leave your pizza another 10 minutes. Let me get my tray to take it out. It looks unbelievable. I better get that crunch. I better get the crunch. I hope. Any more questions? Do you want it toasty from the pan? I want it toasty. I don't need it extra toasty, but I want it toasty. I want it firm. The cheese is dripping, and I'm not taking it out of the oven. You'll have to deal with the smoke alarm. I roll it out in cornmeal. This is the flour that I use. It only comes in small bags, 1 kilo bags. I'd say it stays in the oven. It depends on everybody's oven is different. I've baked in so many houses. I made pizza in so many homes. And I have to tell you, I know right away when the pizza is going to be good. Because when I turn their oven on and it doesn't feel that heat, I said, it's not going to be good. And it's not. 10 minutes, it needs about 15 minutes, I would say. I should have timed it. There's no timing it. Everybody's oven is different. It has to be burnt on the edges, crunchy. I even made pizza in those new pizza oven that everybody's buying, and it doesn't compare to this. It does rise. It rises 1 hour. I have one dough rising over here, and I had made one prior, but it does rise for an hour. The flour is finer. It's just a finer flour. If you feel it, you'd even understand. It feels like talcum powder. It doesn't feel like regular flour. It makes a much softer, smoother pizza dough. I'm going to check the oven. I'll be back. Oh, looks psycho. And my smoke alarm is 1,000% gonna go off, so get ready, everybody. The smoke is coming out of that oven like you can't believe. I'm gonna bring you over this way. Let me see if I could. I can't hold the tripod and get the pizza out. Wait till you see the smoke. You ready? You're gonna be scared for me. Scared. I really want to leave it another minute, but look at the smoke coming out. Looks psycho. Looks good. Yes, the barbecue, there's nothing better than a barbecue. Nothing. But my stone cracks on the barbecue every single time. I am selling the grilled pizza dough. If you want to purchase the dough already grilled, like this, you can just pop these out of your freezer and have them ready. What else? I'm just stalling for that dough. Why can't the tray be on the right side? You won't be able to get it off. Now it's going to be stuck with a lip around it. I have my pizza peel. I don't even need it. Yeah, you won't be able to. You could put the tray on the barbecue. Yes, you could put the tray on the barbecue. To me, to put cheese on a barbecue is a little gross. I can't do it. I'll be honest with you. The longer it rises, the better? No, it should rise 1 hour. And my pizza cutter, I will show you my pizza cutter. I love this pizza cutter. No tin foil. It will never come off. No Pam, you don't need it. I'm going to get the pizza. Now we're talking. Okay. I have to get a spatula. I don't usually, but I have to get a spatula. Okay. This is burning, burning, burning hot. So be careful. There's the smoke alarm. There's my smoke alarm. Just what I needed. Let me open a door. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna bring you back to the pizza. Let's see if you can see it. Could you see the crust? Take a look. We're going to put some Parmesan cheese onto here. My window should have been open from before. Yeah, maybe. Okay. We're going to put some Parmesan on here. I'm going to snip just a couple of pieces of fresh basil. And it's all about what it's going to sound like when I cut it. That's the truth. Again, I'm going to use my scissor to cut the basil. You could definitely add a drizzle of olive oil at this point. Okay, let's be quiet and get the pizza cutter. What do you think about a drizzle of olive oil? I think so. I think a little drizzle of olive oil. You don't even see the Parmesan, it melted right in. You can't see the pizza, but you could smell it. Okay, can you see the pizza? I cut it from here, maybe you could see me. Let me back you up. Okay, now, I hear the crunch. I have a feeling there's going to be a little flop on this pizza. I'm not sure yet. Yep, I got flop. I don't know why. I have a little flop, but it smells unbelievable. And that's it. Anybody have more questions? Anybody want a bite? It's too hot. You know. Shit. It's so thin. There's a slight flop. It's so thin that you can't even tell where the dough is on the pizza. It's amazing. Delicious. And doesn't need more salt. Usually it does, but it does not need more salt. Take a look. And yes, there's a little flop. I'm a little disappointed. Maybe I should have grilled it a little more the first time. Anyway, what's the degree that I cook it on? I cook it at 525 degrees. Whatever the hottest your oven can go is what you should cook it on. So, if it goes to 560, go to 560. But as hot as it goes. And you have to preheat it, and you have to put your tray upside down in the oven to preheat for about a half hour. Every oven is different. 100,000% every oven is different. And if you have one oven that you know is hotter than the other oven, use that oven. Go to the hotter oven. It needs to be in a hot oven. Any other questions about pizza? So I was telling you about the other dough. Here's my other dough. It's got grill marks. I think I was rushing to grill this one because I felt like it was boring to watch it grill, and that's why there's a flop. So here I have another dough that's grilled. I'm going to post the recipe and the how-to on the website. Top, tray, or bottom. Bottom is better. To put it at the bottom of the oven is always better. So at this point, you could freeze it. You could throw a little olive oil and put some za'atar on it and just eat it like that. Chopped tomatoes, chopped olives, chopped onions, little wine vinegar, delicious. But no, you don't spray. The name of the sauce, didn't see the can. I'm going to get you the can. It's Don Pepino pizza sauce. It's the best. It's a flip top, which I love. And you're only going to use half a can for each pizza. You don't want to use a full can. It's terrific sauce, but it needs salt. Nothing, you don't spray anything. I like to use fresh mozzarella and good Parmesan cheese. Don't skimp. If you want to do a regular sauce and cheese on top, you definitely can, but it won't be as crispy. Can I use a broil-on oven instead? No, do not broil it. You want to cook the bottom and the top. If you broil it, it's only going to cook the top. You don't want to broil it. You just want to bake it at 500 degrees or 525. You don't want to broil it. And you could put it in on your barbecue, but I find it weird. Who carries the sauce? Everybody. ShopRite, Wegmans, Kosher Corner, Deal Food, Sarah's Tent. Everybody carries that sauce. Everybody. Mazer dough rolls out thicker. Yes, the Mazer dough. Funny, I went to buy Mazer dough today. I went to 19 stores to find Mazer dough and Deal, and I couldn't find it. So, if you're using, I bought this store-bought dough. It doesn't feel half bad. I got it in Food Town. If you're using store-bought dough, I want you to weigh out 10 ounces to roll out for the pizza dough. You don't want to roll that whole dough. That dough is 20 ounces. The Mazer is 20 ounces. And the other ones, the Papa Sal is 16 ounces. It's too much dough. You're going to end up with a thick crust, and you don't want that. You want this very thin look. You want that thin crust. You don't want a thick crust. Or maybe you do. I don't know. But I don't like a thick crust. So if you're going to use store-bought, make sure you weigh it out to 10 ounces. Everybody, Should own one. It's better than a body scale. This is a great scale, food scale. You could put on you could put a bowl on it and then keep bringing it to 0. How do you prevent the flop? This, I should have grilled it more. See how this one has the grill marks and it's a little firm? This will not have a flop. The other one, I really think it had a flop because I was rushing to grill it. What about the 7-inch mazer? I don't even know what oh, you mean the pre-rolled dough? No, we're not using the pre-rolled dough. I don't use the pre-rolled one. I don't know. I mean, that I'm sure you could put on a tray. You could probably grill it. Maybe you can. I never tried it. Let me know. Could be a good idea to grill the rolled out 7-inch. It's paper thin. But don't you want to know what's in your pizza dough? Flour, pure spring water, flour, yeast, and salt. That's it. I don't know what's in the other. This didn't even have a label on it, by the way. It's a little weird. Show us the za'atar. You want me to show you the za'atar? I could show you the za'atar, but I could show you a picture of it on my phone. How's that? Because my oven is smoking. So I cannot turn it back on. I'm going to show you what the za'atar looks like. Can you see that? That's the za'atar. What water do I use? I use filtered water. That's the za'atar. And then I topped it with tomatoes, Kalamata olives, red onion, parsley, mint, and feta cheese. Water in dough must be tap. I'm not using Jersey water. So, well, look how fabulous. Where could you get my dough? In Brooklyn? I'll be there soon enough. If I have enough orders, I'll send the dough in with somebody. Or I'll come in and bring it for you. And anyway, so we're good. That's it. That's it, pizza. Anybody have any other questions? I topped it with so the za'atar, I rolled it out like that, brushed it with olive oil, sprinkled it with za'atar, threw it onto the tray. It got crispy, took it out, and put all fresh chopped tomatoes, onions, Kalamata olives, parsley, feta cheese, a little wine vinegar, and salt. That was it. It's a cold pizza. Also, your tomatoes. There's 2 things I want to talk about. The size of the pan is 12 inches. The size of the pan is 12 inches. The feta cheese I use is sheep feta. The tomatoes you use do not go in the oven. Not cherry tomatoes, not whole tomatoes. Never go, but did I say the oven? Never go in the fridge. These tomatoes have been in this container for 10 days, left out on the counter. I don't put them in the refrigerator. They ripen, they're beautiful. They don't get mealy inside. Do not put your tomatoes in the fridge. The pizza cooks in the oven for about 15 minutes, but it really depends on your oven. So I don't know. It depends. Anyway, it was fun. I can't wait to see what else SY Alerts has for us. So many flies go into the tomatoes. I know you get those little fruit flies, but sometimes you can't help it. But you can't put them in. You cannot put them in the fridge. Never put tomatoes in the fridge ever. If they start to get rotten, start cooking them or start eating them. Do not put them in the fridge. Horrible. They get mealy and disgusting, and they'll never ripen. I have tomatoes from my garden. I have to leave this out at least a week before we even eat it. Anyway, it was good to see. I'm glad we got a nice crowd. Thanks for all the love. I think I'm going to go have more pizza, even though we said we're going to stop doing that. Okay. I'm looking forward to what SY Alerts has in store for all of you. A garden tour. Not of my garden, Thank you for joining, everybody, and have a wonderful night and a wonderful week.